gentlemen, welcome to ATCHAT. Your hosts for today are Pastor Andy and Kanesh.
Yes.
Yo!
Hello.
Garnish!
Wow, hey, I like your shirt. Oh, you got logo.
Huh?
Yes. Not bad.
Logo is, patriotic sikit.
Yes, I saw. This is the KL flag color, red,
Oh,
blue,
yes,
and white. Yes.
Correct. Okay, but you're from Ipoh.
Yeah. Doesn't matter. I am where I am now. Yes.
Okay, you support the local team wherever you are.
Okay.
Great.
Wow, this is like what?
Malaysia.
Sempena Hari Merdeka or what?
Yes, Merdeka. 5 days time, Malaysia will have our Independence Day. Merdeka.
50th. 50 what? 54, 5, 6.
Don't ask me like that lah. Put me on the spot.
That's why we have sessions like this today.
2021 minus 1957. You get the answer.
Yes. Okay,
Why don't you all type into the chat? This year is Merdeka number what? Please, everybody on Discord, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, type into the chat. Whether you know or not, this is Merdeka number what?
Yes.
If you do 2021 minus 1957.
Yes. Okay, awesome. Welcome back again to Extin's Chat. This is the second Extin's Chat of the month. Just to remind you that we meet every second and fourth week of the month and we talk about anything that our teenagers want to talk about. Yes, and so happened this week because everyone is very hyped up about two things, right? One is the coming the coming Independence Day, National Independence Day. And the second hot topic was when we now have a new Prime Minister. And so we combined both events and put it into Extin's Chat called What in Malaysia is Happening?
Oh, yes. Malaysia boleh
Boleh.
So anything can happen.
Yes. You know, Pastor, the most. Okay, maybe I ask you first. What is the most beautiful thing about Malaysia to you?
Oh wow, I cannot choose just one. But
speaking like a politician, already.
yes. So at least two things. Number one, I love the multiracialness of Malaysia. We have so many different culture.
Yes.
So many languages. Sometimes when we talk in one sentence, right, get 3-4 languages come out,
Yes, betul.
So I love that. I love the multiculturalism. I love the multiracial backgrounds that we have. That's why we got so many holidays, so many festivals, so many different things. Okay, but with it, very close to that is the food. Seriously, nowhere else like Malaysia when it comes to food. Nowhere else.
Right. And of course, Malaysia is very widely known to have good food lah. But what's where in Malaysia has the best of food? What do you think?
The one that's very dangerous question to ask also because but I think one of our guests today he studied in London, so he will know this. He can verify this. Okay.
Yes.
Because I the last time I met him besides Malaysia, it was in London also. Okay. And I have been blessed in my life to travel to different countries and different places. Okay, usually I don't pay for my own airfare because people invite me, so I'm blessed that way. But I noticed one thing, whether it's Brazil or New Zealand or London, right? You just have to look at the hotel breakfast. Okay, you can already see the culture. I went to London. Every single day for 10 days, every day. The breakfast buffet is the exact same spread.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yes.
Orange juice every day. Okay. The salad, same thing every day. The ham, same thing every day. They don't change. I go to Brazil, it's the same thing.
Right.
Orange juice every day. The same thing every day. You go to New Zealand, every day, same.
Right.
You tell me, which hotel in Malaysia do that?
Wow.
Today orange juice, tomorrow guava. Then the next day, some watermelon. Today nasi lemak, tomorrow mee goreng. Then the next day, kway teow soup. I tell you, Malaysia is the best place for food because there's variety and there's macam-macam.
It is.
But where is the best place for food in Malaysia? I cannot answer that because everywhere in Malaysia got best food.
Wow. Okay, and every part got different kind of best food lah, right?
Correct.
Yes. But I must say, I like your first point, which is the multiracialness of of Malaysia. And last time, right, when I was in high school, I'm not sure about you, Pastor, during your age, but there's always forms to fill up, and in the form we have what's that, bangsa, and then you need to tick India, China, Melayu, dan lain-lain. So I want to let you know that really shows the multiracialness in Malaysia, that we have a lot of race, and I am the embodiment of it.
Hey, so when you fill the form, you tick what?
I tick all three lah.
Good,
because I am half Indian, half Chinese, and then the result is that look like Malay. Harmony.
Okay, good. I also got the local look, the local Malay look. Yeah, during puasa month, I suffer, bro.
Suffer.
Yes, puasa month, everybody ask me, "Hey, tak puasa ke bang?" I'm like, "Hey, I have to take out my IC and show you."
Yeah, your IC is a good one. Andy, your pokok.
They thought the pokok is Malay.
Yes. Not bad.
Now you stole my full name to the whole world. 4 million people watching,
Okay. Yes, so today we want to talk about Malaysia, the current state of Malaysia, where we are at right now, what is happening, and today we have someone where we have two. All right. But let me first introduce our guest for today. His name is Tsu Sheng, and so I'll introduce him. Right. So Tsu Sheng is a lawyer practicing in Penang. So now he's in Penang by choice because he feels that it has the better food. All right. And prior to reading law, he did an internship with an American human. Well, human also got, American human. Okay, so he did an internship with American human rights organization known as International Justice Mission, so IJM, where he partnered with the Philippines National Police in investigating online sex trafficking of children. Wow, deep stuff, right? Maybe one day we should cover that topic lah. Okay.
Sure.
Upon he did this upon completion of law school in London. Okay, so Tsu Sheng completed his legal training in KL. It's pupillage, right? In KL, where he was involved in assisting senior counsel in Sukaham inquiry regarding the enforced disappearance of Pastor Raymond Koh and Amri Che Mat. Okay, so this is the last paragraph. Tsu Sheng will be ceasing practice as a private lawyer at the Malaysian bar by the end of this month, and will begin his new appointment under the Attorney General's Chambers Malaysia in September, which I believe is a really big thing for lawyers. But Tsu Sheng can correct me, so help me welcome Tsu Sheng. Yes.
Yay!
Wow, that introduction is like 3 minutes on the clock already.
Thanks, Ganesh.
Yes, and Tsu Sheng, I believe that's only half the introduction. Maybe you can share a little bit about yourself to your viewers today.
Yeah, sure, be happy to. So, hi everyone, my name is Tsu Sheng. I'm a practicing lawyer based in Penang. So, since I'm from Penang, probably the most famous thing about Penang is the food. So, I thought I'd share a bit about my favorite hawker food. My favorite hawker food is char kway teow and Hokkien mee. But when I say Hokkien mee, I don't mean the dried black Hokkien mee that you guys have in KL. I'm talking about the Penang type of Hokkien mee, which is a soup-based, I think is what y'all call prawn mee in KL. So if you haven't tried our version of Hokkien mee, I really recommend that you make a trip to Penang, probably after the pandemic, to try it. You won't regret it.
Wow.
So yeah, I've been a part of ATCHAT since my days reading law in London, in ex-UK under Pastor Dave and Pastor Kat, and also shortly in ex-Subang as well when I was living in KL about 2 years ago. So I'm very happy to be here tonight, to be invited by Ganesh and Pastor Andy as well as Haley. Haley, if you're watching tonight, hi. So to chat with everyone about law and politics in Malaysia. Yeah, thanks Ganesh, thanks Pastor Andy.
Oh,
great.
Thanks for sharing, Tsu Sheng. Haley, if you are here, I must say this. Haley, if you are here, I'll let you know that Tsu Sheng rehearsed that hi. Yes, he did.
I think she's watching on Instagram, if I'm not mistaken. But I tell you, Tsu Sheng is a true Malaysian. Sure, must have food in the introduction one.
yeah.
Definitely.
We don't talk fashion or flower, animal or no food. But yes, I really love the Penang Hokkien mee lah. It's number one lah.
The soup one lah. Where got people eat Hokkien mee soup lah? Maybe I should try.
Hello, it's prawn mee lah, basically.
You're missing out.
Okay, we'll try. Okay,
okay.
Next up, if you see the bottom right corner, there's a black empty box because that is our next panel for today. And she is very dear to us in X-Teens. So I'm gonna introduce her with an essay as well. All right.
Whoa.
So her name is Andra. Help me welcome Andra Huang. Yes.
Wow, your essay very long.
No, because I wanted her to introduce herself. Yes,
okay,
that's
okay.
Right, that's right. So
Come on,
Andra,
Andra.
you heard Tsu Sheng's introduction. Come on, it's your turn. Challenge that.
Okay, thanks, Tanish. Hi everyone, my name is Andra and I'm 17 and I'm from 5 this year. So I study in SMK Bandar Seri Putra, which is where I live. And yeah, my place got lots of Malay delicacies, which is like nasi lemak, roti canai, like different types of nasi lemak you can find here.
Wow.
And, yeah, different roti canai. Yes.
Yes.
Sounds good. Hey, you're making me hungry.
Yes. So we need to go mama after this.
Yeah. But you have to be fully vaccinated, lah, bro.
Yes. I'm done with all that. Yes, I'm done.
Very good.
Yes,
Very good.
Fully
Okay.
vaccinated. That's right.
All right.
Okay, so thanks for being with us, both Tsu Sheng and Andra. And I think there are a lot of people tuning in right now, either in YouTube or Facebook, as well as Instagram. I do know that there are also 2 groups in Discord watching this right now. X-Teens, if you're here, do type it out in the comment section and give a shout out, all right? To Andra, yay! Okay, X-Teens represent. And also, if you're watching us in Revo server, do let us know that you're watching by at least saying hi, all right? And that'll be very encouraging to these the organizers as well. Okay, but before we move on to the next part of the program, I want to let you know that on the top left, this is left, right? Yeah, on the top left of the screen, you have a QR code and a Slido link. So you can either scan the QR code or type out the Slido link. It will lead you to a page where you can ask any questions at all anonymously if you would like to be anonymous. And today we're going to talk about politics and the state of politics in Malaysia today. So as you write, do be respectful with your questions, only to edify yourself as a new knowledge. Not here for debate or to throw down people or throw down the government, but let's help each other out and encourage one another. Okay, so you just type it out and we'll attempt to answer your questions today. Okay, yes. Woo!
Wonderful.
Yes.
Okay.
So we play game first while people type their question.
Okay. Give people some time to think about what they want to know about Malaysian politics, government, what just happened, So Ganesh, you mentioned game. Yes,
okay. So I have a game ready right here. It's called Wits. Okay, so wits meaning smart lah. Okay, but you know how Malaysia politicians, they are very witty with the way they answer things, right? They got a lot of ways to describe something, a lot of ways to go around a particular topic. So now let's see which among us 4 can be like that kind of politician. Yes. So I'm going to start a private room for Tsu Sheng and Andra and Pastor Andy to join, and I'll send you the link right now. Okay, this one I have to send you on WhatsApp because if not, everyone else will join. Okay. Yes. Okay, Andy is here. Yes, Andy is here. Waiting for Tsu Sheng and Andra. Okay, Andra, come on. Oh, you can type. Oh yeah, okay, Andra. Okay, before I start the game, let me do a very quick introduction to the game. Basically, the game will give all 4 of us different phrases, okay? But there's a missing word in the phrase. So all 4 of us will have to write the best word to complete the phrase, okay? And then at the end of the so-called round, we will need to vote which phrase is the best. Okay, so you will also get to vote. Just tell us what to vote and tell us what phrase to write. Just type it out in the comment section and we will write accordingly. What you are seeing right now is my screen. Okay, you will not be able to see Tsu Sheng, Andra, and Pastor Andy's screen, but they will have different questions. Okay, let's at least start with round 1 and then we'll get used to it. Then we got round 2 and round 3. All right, start game. Yes, round 1.
Okay,
look at mine. Right, so if you want to answer this, type it out in the comment section. Yes. Activate. We got 1 minute for this, so I think we got time for people to type out in the comment section.
2 questions only, right?
Yeah, 2 questions for round 1.
Okay. So while we're typing, what do people do? Let's watch that.
Yes, okay, I am done. Yes, okay, powers activate. Wow, political power so fast come out the politics. But yes, they need to vote. I can't vote this one because this is mine. Wow, you guys. Oh, someone didn't vote. I think Andra didn't vote. Yes. Okay, I put Rangers because Nicholas says Power Rangers.
But it's
Wow.
Okay, never mind.
I'm gonna choose fly. Make a difference, Tsu Sheng. Okay.
I guess I'm the only one making a difference.
I just like that song. Okay. Snow White, and the 7 members of Parliament. This is so political now. Okay. Monkeys is nice, yes. All right. Okay, when this pandemic is over, I promise that I will never stuck at home ever. That's right, that's good. Or I'll never sleep during work. Oh no! Oh, they went for Andra's one. Okay. Yes, some of you have answered. I believe I can fly as well. Yes, we can all make a difference too. Remember that.
Andra
Round
is
2,
way ahead, huh?
Yes, we are way ahead, huh? Okay, so I'll just fill in.
What is this?
That's you either okay. All right, waiting for other players. Yes. I see Nicholas. Okay, everyone submitted. Tsu Sheng waiting for you. Or was it Andy? Yeah, Pastor Andy. All right, let's go. My pre-game involves introducing Tsu Sheng. Yes, that's pre-game. But someone said pooping. Andy. Okay. Next. Smash. What's a pinata?
You know those party game where they have a little donkey stuff with stuff inside. Yeah.
Must be your question. This one.
No.
Smash. I didn't answer. Racist pinata.
Wow.
Always smash racist people. That's good. All right. Next, a group of unfunny people is called a. It's called a lawyer. Tsu Sheng. Oh, that's totally you. Okay, well done. Okay, there's no halfway. You either complete or you don't. You either be a man or you don't. That's right. You must be a man. Yes.
Wow.
Last round is a little bit different. Round 3. I think you just type out the whole like a subjective question. Reverse round. What's that? Okay, you have to describe this word without using it.
Looks like I'm quite bad at this game, huh?
You're what? Your last place? I feel like I got a potential to be politician.
That's right.
Yes, politician Varva. Okay.
Only one,
Yeah, last round, one only. Yeah. So now we have to vote the best one. Be a man. Kanish! Yes. Oh, do the right thing. That's actually quite funny. We got stop sulking and male human. I can guess male human is probably from Tsu Sheng.
Nope, wrong.
Okay. I'll do the right thing. Yes.
One vote remaining. Who's that?
One vote. Is that me? Oh man.
Wow, not bad, This politician.
Oh, I won. Yes.
Wow.
Let's vote for me. Yes. Okay, everyone actually answered stop sulking. Yeah, everyone answered stop sulking. That's Yue and Nicholas. But yes, that's all we have for you in terms of activity. Now we want to go to questions, okay? So remember that at the top left of your screen, you'll be able to see a QR code or a link. And when you go into it, you'll see a Slido platform where you can ask any questions at all regarding politics in Malaysia, and we will attempt to answer them. Okay, so maybe I will start with the first question. Are we still online?
Are we not?
Yeah, we're still online. Okay, we're still online, right? Okay, I'll start with the first question because I'm very curious on having Andra. Was it Andra or Andra? I was very curious of having Andra with us on X's chat because Andra is only 17-year-old, and so I'm quite interested. Sorry, organizer, all okay? Yes. Oh, we hang out, is it? Yes.
I think only you can hear the organizer, is it?
No, can't hear, but I think the screen hang already.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
We are back. Yeah, so I wanted to ask Andra, what is it about politics that interests you enough for you to, as a teenager, you're only 17, people like you be playing Dota and FIFA and stuff like that, but you talk about politics with your mom, right? And then you comment about it. So what is it as a teenager? What is it about politics that interests you? Maybe you can share with us.
Okay. So my parents frequently mention about political situations going on in Malaysia. So being a kid or teen, right, we used to eavesdrop what our parents talking about. And sometimes I found that it's kind of interesting. So I would tend to ask them questions about that particular topic. And I will also initiate myself to do more research about political stuff. Because I find it interesting because it's that many changes and sometimes new changes putting in and old changes putting out. So, and another thing is I'm interested in politics also because of the sejarah we are learning. So there are many interesting stuff actually in our textbook, and it also benefits me to know more because of it's easier for me to answer essay questions for sejarah and moral as well, because our syllabus now, they put in a lot of general knowledge about politics or stuff. So yeah.
Andra, so I want I'm interested to know that do you feel as a teenager, so someone is below 18 years old, do you feel like as a teenager in Malaysia you are well educated, sufficiently educated as a student in Malaysia about the political situation in Malaysia, about how our government system works, things like that? Do you feel that you're sufficiently educated?
I think for us, yes, quite sufficient because changes has syllabus changed and our sejarah changed a bit. And last time sejarah is talking about very old stuff, but now our sejarah is talking about how we can move forward in a Malaysia situation, and changes happen and many stuffs going on about politics and everything, and even talk about some other countries as well. So yeah.
Do your friends is it a normal topic of discussion among your friends? Because when I was in school, no one talked about politics. The boys talk about girls talk
Yeah.
about boys.
Clearly, we know Andra is the top student lah among us because we don't focus on our skills.
So I was just wondering, like, is it just you, like you're special, you just have a personal interest, or is it like that's what school is like right now? Like, you know, you gather around the table and one of your topics is surely politics. Or is it just you are
Like, yeah, I have some friends, so like we all talk about politics a lot, and when we have new news coming in, then we will like just talk about that topic for the day, and like saying how we should change on this and that and stuff, and maybe like mostly talking about the education system.
okay?
So yeah.
Wow, good. I mean, yeah, it's definitely something very interesting because when I was growing up in school, it is not like this at all. No one talks about politics. No one understands enough even to talk about politics at all. And so therefore, growing up, we never had the foundation. We don't even know what to talk about. So but it's good to hear from you that there is some level of interest among the young people of today. Yeah.
Could be also because of media, right, Pastor? Like during
Yeah,
our
I don't
days.
know.
Yeah.
Andra, do you think that social media has an impact on, like, you know, because you have social media, you are able to access information and news?
Yeah, social media is actually a part of it, because like last time students just don't really have social media, just newspapers, right? And
Yes.
now
She would know.
and now everyone like have access of social media, so news everywhere. So yeah.
Okay, so we can say, I mean, I think it's quite representative to say that social media has impacted what the generation currently knows or don't know, or, you know, because during my time, information was hard to get. It was hard to get. Yeah, and it's all from newspapers only, and we don't really read newspapers. So yeah, yeah.
Okay. Wow. Thanks for
Okay,
sharing. Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, Kanish, how your
Yes.
time? How
My time, don't know lah. I'm one of those guys who grew up not caring about politics lah. To be honest,
even now.
even now, maybe my interest like 20% 20% improve
Okay,
because of my wife.
maybe we need to talk to the lawyer and ask, but, you know, actually, is it
Yes.
important or not? Is it important for us to know about politics, or is like it's just for certain people? You know,
Yes.
like, you know, it doesn't bother me lah. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's definitely important for everybody to know about politics, because should I say the answer?
Yes.
Sorry. Yeah, it's important because politics is not just what's happening on the TV or what's on the headlines of Malaysia Kini. The whole process of politics, you know, when you elect people into positions of government, they are going to make decisions that are going to affect our life. You know, there is the minute you open your eyes in the morning until you go to sleep at night, everything that you do, whether you're in school or you're working or you're volunteering, everything involves the law, right? Because without law and order, then there's chaos lah. So who makes the law? The lawmakers are those who we put in position of power in parliament. So I think it's important that everybody cares about politics, because it is only through awareness and knowledge that we can, you know, put the right people and the right things in place, so that the law of the country can be to our benefit and to our favor, so the country can grow. So yeah, it's definitely important.
So would you say that I lost the word? I had a word in mind. Let me quickly try to find that word back. But what I'm trying to say is that would you therefore say that if someone says politics doesn't matter to me, it doesn't affect me one bit. It's politics. It's those people, you know, on the TV. I see them arguing. It's politics for them. It doesn't affect me. Would you say that would be the word is misconception? Because I have encountered people who think, no lah, politics doesn't affect me lah. You know, let them do it. You know, as if it's some other people's job and it doesn't affect me in one bit. But hearing what you say, I think it would be a misconception to think that way, right? To think that politics doesn't affect me.
Yeah, I think for me, it's definitely a misconception lah, because even though a lot of the times it feels a bit distant, you know, let's say, for example, very key political leaders are arguing amongst themselves, and then we are just reading it on the news. it can be easy to feel like we have nothing to do with it. Just like if you're driving by a kopitiam and then we see two uncles arguing, it's easy to feel like, there's nothing to do with me. I got more important things to deal with. But actually, the way our political system, the way our system of governance is set up in Malaysia is a democratic country, right? So we have to cast our votes, of course, in every general election. Are we still on air? Sorry.
Yes, I think we are. Carry on.
Yeah, okay. So what I was saying is that politics is important because when it is through our votes, right, it is through us exercising our constitutional right as voters, is how we put people in place. Like basically, I'm just repeating myself here, but it's very important because if we just let other people vote and then we don't voice ourselves through the voting, through the ballot, then really it's no point complaining about policies that are set in place which affects our lives. Because if you're not happy about a certain policy or a certain law that for some way or some way, shape or form is affecting you, then you have to exercise that right by putting the people that you want in place that can make the right laws for your benefit lah. So I think sometimes it's like what I said, it's easy to feel distant from politics because you don't understand what's happening and all that. But actually, it's important to learn and to know what is going on, and then to know that actually the power is in your hands, not just yours alone, but collectively as the rakyat. So if you just leave it to a small group of people to go and vote and to go and fight, and then you don't do anything, then then when we complain, then it's useless lah. So all of us are intertwined and we have a part to play, definitely.
So
that's great. So Andra is here representing the young people, and we have a lot of teens watching tonight, I believe. Can you give us an example? Make it applicable, make it really personal, right? Make it like applicable to young people. Like, give us an example of how what is decided in the parliament, which is I guess where they are also known as lawmakers, right? All these representative, that's where laws are made. Can you give us an example of how what they decide in parliament, right? How can it affect a student, for example? I mean, I was asking Tsu Sheng, like, can you give Andra and all the teens watching an example? Because you said that it's important, we should care because we are voting people into this place called parliament, and they're going to make decisions that will affect our lives. How does it affect our lives? So maybe, and there's many areas, right? So let's zoom in on the education area, for example. How can the decision they make there, right, affect someone like Andra?
Okay, so when we put leaders into power, then let's say Ministry of Education, there will be a person called the Minister of Education, who will be the person in charge of the entire ministry, the day-to-day operation, the administrative aspect of the ministry, and then they will implement policies and things like this. So when we elect somebody and then they become the majority government, when they have the majority seats in parliament, they become the government. Then the Prime Minister will then elect members of the members of Parliament or senator to join his cabinet, become a cabinet minister. So when the ministers, what the executive branch basically is part of is the cabinet lah. They can make policies and things like that. And for example, your UPSR or your PMR or whatever it is, your exams, right? They actually have the power to decide the policy based surrounding these exams and all that. So they can decide, like maybe one day they can say, we're going to make a new law or a new policy. You need to take PMR twice. You need to, how would you feel about that? Or you need to take SPM 2 times. Or if you get only 1A, then you cannot pass this is very crazy, unreasonable examples. But what I'm saying is that the government has the power to do that. They can make policies in relation to things like this that affects the students. So you don't want your future and your education to be, to be gambled that way. So of course, you have to, of course, we talk about voting in Malaysia right now. The voting age is 21. So even in this chat, we can't expect the teenagers to be voting because they can't, right? But you have elderly people in your house, say your parents or your brothers and sisters who are above 21. So I think on the part of the young people, especially teenagers below the voting age, they can educate themselves about what's happening, and then they can form their own political opinion as well based on their knowledge of what's happening, and then they can actually share their convictions with the people around them, so that they raising awareness lah, essentially, and doing the right thing. So when you put the right people in power, going back to what I said earlier about the Minister of Education, then when you get the right person to become the Minister of Education, then this person will then make rules and policies and laws that will benefit students rather than other things lah. So this is just one aspect, but of course in a society there are many layers of aspects. So there's the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Transport, so many things intertwined, and is very relatable to our lives. For example, the Ministry of Transport one day says there shall be no more public buses, everybody must walk, everybody cannot use car. I mean, of course that is unreasonable, but if we don't put the right people in places of leadership and influence, then one day we might see very crazy laws that don't make sense, and then the only people who's going to suffer is the people lah. So very important to be involved in politics, very important to know what is going on, and to know that we have the constitutional right to decide who we want to lead the country, basically.
Very good, very good.
Wow.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Yes, we have a question from Slido, and I think we can tie into what you were sharing, Tsu Sheng. But maybe I'll ask this question to Andra first. Hear your opinion, and then Tsu Sheng, you can add on to that. So the question on Slido sounds like this: how do I catch up with the news available right now when I'm already feeling so lost? I think this is quite, quite, I can relate to it lah. Like I go to Facebook, so there's so many news portal that is sharing about various other people, various ministers and all that. How do we catch up with all this? Or maybe where do I start, right? There's also a question here, why, or but this is more, but where do I start if I want to understand about what's happening in the political world in Malaysia? Andra, how do you do it? How did you start? Yeah.
For me, sometimes I just scroll through my Telegram, because like Telegram there are many groups, like the MKN group or like the COVID group or some sort. So inside there we will get some latest news and updates on Malaysia. And like every time when we open our Instagram, right, and if we follow certain pages, we will get latest news and updates every day or every time. So like where to start, it's not like I don't have a answer for that, but just I mean just look through lah. Sometimes your Google recommended place, yeah. So just like that.
Yeah, it's not about where to start, but just start, right? start at any point and catch up from there, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think the question was also how this person is asking, how do I catch up, right? Maybe,
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess we have to ask this person a bit further to understand, but I can only make guesses about what this question is about. Probably this person is saying like, there's so much going on. Like even Tsu Sheng was mentioning, there's so many layers in society. There's health, transportation, education.
Yes.
And I mean, if you're really honest, several things affect us all at the same time, right? And there's so many politicians in the parliament. There's 200 over of them. Everyone's saying something. I think this person is saying, "How do I catch up? How am I supposed to read everything, or is it okay to just read some things, or I'm guessing like that's what the question is about." And I'm not sure whether Andra want to add to it, or Tsu Sheng want to say something like, "How does one read enough or know enough to then make an informed decision?"
For me, I think it's not so much about catching up. I think politics is very fast moving. Okay, it's an alive thing. It's a human thing. It's not like science or mathematics where you go to a textbook and you find the answer. This is the formula. Every day you open your eyes, something new, a new development happens, right? And then even as you're in school or when you're at work in the afternoon at lunch, something new happens. So even if I don't read the news for one day, I would have already missed out a lot. So to say I need to catch up before I can continue following, then you will never catch up. So my view is that if you really want to be involved, you really want to start learning, just start reading. one of the more practical ways we can do it, I think, is we're all on social media, I believe, in this day and age. You're on Facebook, you're on Instagram, you're on Twitter. I don't know what else young people are on, TikTok or whatever it is. But what do you follow on your Facebook? So, for example, if you were to open your Facebook app right now or your Instagram app right now, what are the feeds that you are receiving? Are they just about football? Are they just about the fashion stuff? What celebrities is doing? What celebrity is eating? And all these things, or what are you following? Right. So I would really recommend that you start following like news portals, Malaysia Kini, The Star, even Astro Awani or Utusan, whatever, like everything, China Press, whatever it is, they're all on social media. Nobody reads hard copy papers nowadays. So just follow these, and then the headlines will come in your newsfeed. And whatever you see, just start reading. Because a lot of times, if you actually read news articles, right, they don't just tell you what is happening now, like then, what they're reporting, and then full stop. Normally, if you look at the way news is being reported, they will tell you, okay, what is it they're trying to report, what's happening. And then at the bottom, they usually give a bit of context and a bit of background of what is the bigger picture. So that is how you pick up, different things. So don't just do this for Facebook, do it for Instagram as well, do it for Twitter. I think Pastor Andy said earlier, well, not on here, but earlier to me, that Twitter is a very good platform to follow the news, which I completely agree. Personally, I'm not much of a Twitter user, but I've heard friends who have Twitter solely to follow the news. They don't do it for anything else. They hardly tweet. They just use it to follow the news. So do that. And then one of the other things is, well, if you are young and you feel that, maybe not many around you, your peers are also very interested in politics. Maybe they also don't know what's going on and they rather talk about other things. Then find people in your life that can engage in these kind of conversations with you. Maybe it's a senior in school. Maybe you are in Form 1 or Form 2 and there's a senior that from a persatuan that you join, maybe a Form 5 student or whoever, or in your household, your parents or your neighbor. Find someone that you can engage in conversations about politics and the current events, current issues, and things like this. So it is through a lifestyle, I would say, making a habit to follow the right portals on social media, making a habit to find friends and engage in conversations about politics, about the government. Eventually, slowly, just like going to the gym. For me, I love working out. Now I can't do it because of the lockdown. The gyms are closed. But I can't say that, hey, I need to catch up on my fitness. The best thing to do is actually start the gym membership and to start hitting the weights, is to start getting in the treadmill, right? But you won't see results right away. You have to lift, maybe you're lifting 5 kilos today. But if you consistently lift 5 kilos for 2 weeks, then maybe you'll increase to 10 kilos, 15 kilos. So after maybe a month or two, then only you start to see changes in your body and in your health and your fitness. So likewise with political knowledge, right? You can't say, how do I catch up or how do I suddenly know everything that's happening? You can't. That's the reality. But you can start by taking these simple steps, practical steps to educate yourself. And eventually you will get there. Eventually you will know the ins and outs. And as you keep yourself up to date, you will know what is happening. And then you can form your own political opinion and your own convictions about politics, like what I said earlier. And that's when you can then launch yourself further by sharing with others how you feel, how you think, your convictions about what's happening. So baby steps and you get there.
Great. Ganesh?
Yes, good. Thanks for sharing. Looking through Slido, actually, we are receiving quite a number of questions.
I'm looking at it also. I think some of it can be combined.
Yes.
And can be answered one shot, I think. Because although it's not the same question per se, but it's around the same theme.
Yeah.
So our attempt, So basically, so one person asked, one vote out of millions or one out of thousands, what does it matter? Okay, we can address that. But also, I think this person must be a very young person who says, since I cannot vote now, what can I do? Okay, what can I do to contribute my voice? How can I add my voice to the picture since I cannot vote now? So I cannot speak with my vote. So how else can I speak as a young person? And then someone else asked, I read before that high school students cannot join politics. So you may want to answer that, whether yes, is it correct or not correct? A high school student cannot join politics. But you said that we can raise awareness about politics. How and where do we draw the boundary? That means how far is too far? What can a young person be involved in? So you can combine that question with since I cannot vote now, what can I do? Can you do that? And then maybe at the end you can address but I'm just one vote.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure. I want to first address the question about high school cannot join politics. Okay, so that I think that statement, or that question, however you put it, is a bit general. It's very vague, lah. So there's nothing in the law to stop you from getting involved, but rather the definition of involvement. What do you mean by getting involved? Do you want to stand in election and run as a politician? Do you, a high school student, want to become a member of parliament or a state assemblyman? That one you cannot, of course, because you haven't attained the age of 18. You are still a minor in the eyes of the law. So you cannot become a politician or a member of parliament in that sense. But what is to stop you in getting involved in the nation building process? I would say nothing. Okay, I don't care how old you are, you can be 10, you can be 11. As long as you have the necessary knowledge about what's happening, you have the necessary passion, then nothing stops you, lah. I think if you can't vote, there's still many ways for you to get involved in the nation building process, because I think number one, even in terms of growth and development, whether it's about improving a country or whether it's about improving a school team, a basketball team, whatever it is, growth and development always starts from the grassroots level. That means from the people who are on the ground. So if you talk about basketball team, that would be the basketball players themselves, not the coaches, not the guru besar, but the players themselves. For the country, growth and development starts from the grassroots, which are the voters, the rakyats. So for a basketball team, I don't know why I keep going back to this, but I think it helps to draw the analogy. But for basketball players, the first thing is not to be able to shoot the hoops and play really well. The first point of improvement is being aware and knowing that they need to train harder, knowing that they need to change certain things in their strategy and all this. So likewise in nation building, the first step for everybody is awareness and knowledge. So I think a very common theme among a lot of young people is that I don't know enough of what's happening. It's boring, or it's too complicated. I'm not interested. It's too dangerous. Some people might say that you can get killed. I don't know, whatever it is, the fear aspect of it. But when you actually gain proper awareness and knowledge about what is happening, what are our rights, then you will realize that a lot of these fears are not really, they're not supposed to be there, lah. So how you can contribute in that sense is you armor yourself with the necessary knowledge. You educate yourself. You go and research. You go and read up the news. You go and speak to people, like what I said earlier. Engage in conversations. Eventually, you will have your own political views, your own opinion about the country. Then you can go and share and update. Okay, maybe you are not of age to vote yet, but you have a neighbor who is already past 18, and then you're quite close to this person. You can actually talk to them, educate them, persuade them, whatever it is, and then they are in a position to vote. So then they can actually be influenced by what you have spoken to them about, how you have influenced them. Then they can go and do the voting part. But on your part, even, I don't know, some political parties, they have, or even ADUN officers or MP officers, they have internship programs for students. So, you can't vote, fine. But let's say, an MP or YB opens up an internship program, asks you to come and join, do some research, help out administratively. By you giving a hand in that kind of contribution is also a way of being part of the movement, lah. So don't think of voting as the only way you can make change. Of course, that is the tangible way, because the vote goes towards who sits in parliament. But apart from that, campaigning and all this research and all that, a lot of times young students are actually better because you have very bright brains and minds, and you're technology savvy and things like that. So yeah, that is my very long answer to it, lah. And then I think going to the second part is I'm only one vote. What does that make? But you see, if this is a democracy meaning the person with the most vote wins, right? So let's say very close competition, like what we saw in GE 13 in 2013, I believe. It was very, very close, almost like 50 to 51% or 49%. So sometimes the one vote can tilt the scale in your constituency. So some constituencies is entrenched with the opposition. Some constituencies very entrenched with the current government. But there are some constituencies where we call it like swing constituencies, meaning it can go either way. So your one vote can actually make a difference. If everybody thinks that my one vote don't make a difference, then nobody votes, then habis lah. But if everybody thinks that my one vote counts, then your one vote will count. It will count at the ballot box. Yeah, that's all I have.
Okay, great.
Yes. Good.
Yes.
We need to ask Andra one question before we move on to the final one. So, Andra, I have this question here written. Why do you think, like, I mean, you're a teenager, right? Among friends of teenagers and all that, and me being part of the teens ministry, I was searching for that one person who would join us for X-Teens Chat today, and that whole task of doing that made me realize that there are a lot of teenagers who are probably not very interested with the topic of politics. What do you think about that? Like, why is it that teenagers are just generally not into this? Like they don't care, or is it true that they don't care, or is it it's just never appear in their mind, or it's just something that people don't talk about widely? But you as a teen and having friends as teenagers, what are your thoughts on that?
Okay. I think because sometimes political stuff can be very complicated and very hard to understand sometimes. And for us as teens, our maturity is not there yet. So it may seem like confusing, like complex and insignificant. So and we as teens, sometimes we feel like political stuff is just for adults, and we teens don't have to care so much because like it doesn't really matter us. So for this social media site, right, because usually all these things will appear in like Facebook or like the stars, like news website. So we don't really visit that type of website, especially the news, because we rarely read the news. So I think because of that, and sometimes like adults and maybe parents, like they didn't like talk about it, so we don't know about it and can't understand. So yeah.
Nice. I think knowing that a lot of teenagers are just like that, right? Because what I caught earlier was that it's a bit too complicated to catch up. So I'm not sure if Tsu Sheng, you want to do this, but would you be able? I mean, we have the next less than 10 minutes left, right? But would you be able to maybe give us a very nice, brief summary of what's happening right now in Malaysia, like in terms of the political landscape? And earlier we talked a lot about voting, and voting is equivalent to choosing the government to our favor. But I think recently it bypasses all that as well. So on your, just brief us, like in general, what's happening right now, so that we all, teenagers today watching, think, at least I know what's happening right now, and then we can take it from there. Yeah.
Okay lah. To give Andra credit and understanding the target audience, I admit it's not the most straightforward. It is. It can feel dense. It can feel a bit overwhelming sometimes. But I'll try to break it down and to help people understand what is actually happening. So sometimes I ask myself also, what's happening. But I think to answer that question properly, we need to go back to the basics. Okay, we need to first understand how the government system works in Malaysia. So the relevant law that we need to know, that we need to refer when we have this discussion, is actually the Federal Constitution. So the Federal Constitution is the supreme law of the land in Malaysia. That means there's no laws that supersedes the Federal Constitution. It is the law in which the rule of law flows. Okay, I'm getting too lawyer here, so I'll stop. Okay, so according to the Federal Constitution, Parliament can only sit for 5 years. After 5 years maximum, it must be dissolved, meaning the meeting of parliament dissolves, then they must go for general elections. So what happens after general elections is the party with the most votes, then having the most seats in parliament, becomes the new government lah, because this is what we call having parliamentary majority. Okay, so what happened after the most recent general election that we had on the 9th of May 2018? So on the 9th of May, for the first time in the history of Malaysia, a non-Barisan National Alliance had won the general election, which was Pakatan Harapan. So they became the government of the day. But about 22 months after that, about less than 2 years, on February 2020, which was just last year, an incident took place, okay, whereby some members of parliament from the then Pakatan Harapan government actually decided that they were going to change their minds and withdraw their support for the Pakatan Harapan government. So when the Pakatan Harapan government lost the majority confidence it possessed in parliament, right, Tun Dr. Mahathir, which was the prime minister under PH, under Pakatan Harapan, he had no choice but to resign as prime minister, because under Article 43 of the Federal Constitution, only the prime minister is the person who commands the majority support in parliament. So once Tun Mahathir lost that support, he had to resign. He had no other choice pursuant to Article 43. And he had to pave way for the Agong to appoint a new prime minister, someone who had the majority support. So this was what happened, which led to the birth of the Perikatan National Government in 2020 under the premiership of Tan Sri Mahyadin. So applying back the same principles about the Prime Minister being someone who commands majority support in Parliament, in recent events, just weeks ago or a month ago, a very strong political force known as UMNO, or the United Malay National Organisation, they decided collectively to withdraw their support as a party for Prime Minister Tan Sri Mahyadin, so resulting in his loss of the majority support. So just like what happened to Mahathir, pursuant to Article 43 of the Federal Constitution, he also had no choice but to resign and make way for somebody else who commands that majority support. So this person today is Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri, the 9th Prime Minister of Malaysia. So I agree that the current political situation is quite complicated. It's extremely unprecedented in Malaysia. But this, in a nutshell, is why in a span of 3 years, we have had 3 prime ministers, even though there wasn't a general election since 9th of May 2018. So in a nutshell, this is what happened. The reason why the prime minister position kept changing people is because of the support that they had in parliament, essentially.
Oh, that's actually very good. As brief as it can be. So that's
okay,
very
yeah,
good.
as brief as it can be.
People like me who don't understand also can catch up to that. Yes. Awesome. But yes, I must also say that well, time's up, right? Because every program has an ending, and X-Teens chat ends at 9 p.m. During our program. But we have actually a lot of questions. Not sure how we want to do this. Maybe we can.
A bit tough.
Yeah, a bit tough. But there are some questions that's asking how to be a politician. While there's another question that asks me how to be as handsome as me.
I think that's to me lah.
Oh, okay. But I got a question for you lah. Maybe we just end with this. We end with this question. I'm not sure where I saw it later. Earlier, but there's a lot of questions, so I'm not going to read again and find it again. But I think earlier I found a question that asked, how can I make an impact, right? And I think Tsu Sheng did mention that there are other ways besides voting that you can make an impact in nation building. And I think, Pastor Andy, you're very much involved in nation building and making an impact in nation building through this movement called Revo. I'm sure Revo and politics is not directly inclined or whatever, right? But it's part of nation building. Maybe you want to share a little bit of that, and that can show how young people, like teenagers, can impact nation building, and maybe we can close with that. Yeah.
That question sometimes I can answer in 2 hours, but I'll try my best to do it in 2 minutes. But okay, politics is very, very important. It affects every part of our lives. Like it or not, that's the reality. Okay. Having said that, politics is not the only way to build a nation. I mean, there's other ways to build a nation. So that's where the revolution movement comes in. And that movement is a movement of kindness, goodness, generosity. encouraging young people to love their neighbor. You know, that comes from the Bible. Jesus taught us how to live in the Bible. The Bible is it's a great book where it teaches us how to live our lives in a way that actually builds a nation, builds community. And so he boiled down to two very simple things. You love God, okay? You love this God that is a mighty creator, and then you love other people around you. You do these two things, right? Society will be a much better place. Because no one can love God and still kill their neighbor. It's just you don't do that. And so we encourage young people to love their neighbor. And according to the Bible, a neighbor it's not just the person living next to you in your home. It's just anyone around you, even people that are different than you. There's actually a story in the Bible that describes your neighbor as someone that's a different culture, someone that don't speak your language, that believes different things. That person is also your neighbor. So I think, of course, somewhere along the way it intertwines. You love people, you care for the people around you. That can build a nation. That can create a much better society. Okay, but because in politics, you actually create laws that affect the rest of the nation. So it is an option. It is an option available to someone who want to take it another step. But it starts with loving, lah. It starts with having a good heart. Because if you ask me, I want to vote someone into parliament who I believe has a good heart, lah. Whose foundation, whose background is, I've always been kind to my neighbor. I've always been kind to people around me. Because one thing I never understood before last time is that I thought that people in government, politics, they are just, I thought that they are like some kind of special people, privileged people. But if you really understand the system, right, it's actually, right, one among us. It's just we all collectively decided that this person should represent us in parliament. We can't all go there and speak. So why don't we choose someone from among us to go there and speak on our behalf, who will share our interests, who will champion our cause. So it's not necessarily someone who's like super. I know we call them dato. We got all these labels. Sometimes these labels, right, kind of like mask what it really is. It's really just someone from among us who go and speak. And I think if the foundation of this person is like, I've always been kind, I've always been good, I think it will help, right? Because it affects their motivation, their agenda. So if you're asking me how a young person can be involved in nation building, really start where you are. Start where you are. Because if you can make a difference in your classroom or among your friends, that's a microcosm of society, right? Society doesn't have to be 10,000 people. It can be the 10 people around you. And if you can do well with the 10 people around you, right, you will have experience and the mindset to do well in bigger settings. And really, like Tsu Sheng said just now, there's nothing stopping anyone from being involved in politics one day. When the conditions are right, you're of the right age. You probably have to join a political party. I know I'm answering another question already. But it's actually not so difficult. It's not that difficult to stand a chance to be a representative of the people. But I will encourage every teenager now, start where you are. Start in your classroom, start in your school, start in your church. Expand your worldview. Don't just read about K-pop only. Don't just read about the movies only. I mean, you read all about those things. I read about football a lot on Twitter, but every once in a while, I also scroll and read about what's going on in the news. And it can be very overwhelming because there's so many things to read, right? But sometimes there may be one particular issue. So you can follow issues also. If you cannot follow everything, follow issues. So if you're a student, maybe the issues on education may interest you a lot more. Follow the issue, read up all about it, read both sides, read all kinds of opinions, and then form your own, and then speak up. And if you can't vote yet, like what Tsu Sheng said, talk to your parents, talk to your auntie, uncle, and say, please lah, if you vote this guy, man, this guy is going to ask me to take exams every year, PMR 3 times, because he said, students got nothing better to do, so just take exam all the way. He doesn't make sense. Can you vote this other guy? Because, he makes much more sense. You can speak to your parents and people around you like that, because maybe the policies that they're championing is a bit more, I don't know, makes more sense to you as a student.
Yeah. sorry, I don't know.
Tsu Sheng, go ahead.
I just had something in my mind as you were talking earlier.
Yeah.
Just on a practical level, right? Just as what you were saying, sometimes there's a lot to read, and what do I read? Or when I read it, do I even understand what the article is talking about? Sometimes you
Yeah.
can feel that way because no sort of foundational background knowledge about certain things. So fine, that is a very common thing. So my suggestion is maybe you can incorporate a habit of watching the news as well. I think sometimes like watching the movies is a very relaxing thing to do. End of the day, you go on Netflix and things like that. So although the news is not as relaxing as a TV series or a movie, but sometimes with visuals and sound, it may be more engaging than reading just a long star text or Malaysia Kini. Just
Yeah.
it can be dry. Okay, I admit, but I think on certain channels the news comes on at 8 p.m. I think, even if it's not local news, also like CNN or whatever, but make it a habit to follow the news. Or sometimes like Kini TV, it's not something that is at a certain time on TV, you sit down and watch it. Like Kini TV has their own page on YouTube and I think on social media where you can select videos to watch where they interview certain politicians or they report about what's happening. So watching it, if it helps you retain or help you understand better or is more exciting or more interesting, I think nothing stops you from making that as a habit lah. So of course read, I think that's the best lah, like what Pastor Andy said. But if not, then you can also add or in the alternative watch. I think that's also equally helpful in that sense.
Yeah, I'm actually very hopeful of this generation because I've encountered many of our teens, right, who actually watch the parliament sittings. They actually they actually turn it on and just leave it on there because maybe it's our Malaysian parliament very drama lah. So they watch like drama like that. But I'm quite happy to hear that quite a number of our teens actually turn it on and hear the debates that are going on whenever they actually debate lah. Yeah, what Tristan said, sometimes visuals help, audio helps, whatever helps. But I guess my closing message is this, right? You don't have to wait till you are 21 or 18 when they pass the law for 18-year-olds to start voting. Start where you are. Seriously, start where you are. The government is basically a system of representation. Okay, a few people representing a whole lot of people to make laws. That particular system can happen in your classroom, in church, in your neighborhood. So start getting involved in small ways, and then you will have the experience and the knowledge to one day do even bigger things.
Great, thanks for sharing, Pastor Andy, and thanks for being with us, Tsu Sheng and also Andra. It's been a good time here in Exchange Chat. Once again, I want to thank all of you viewers watching from YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and also Discord, both on the Rebel server and also X-Team server. It has been a great pleasure today that we get to talk and chat about politics and why we should be involved in politics one way or another. Okay, so that's all we have for you today. Do follow us on Facebook and Instagram on X-Teens so that you know when X-Teens Chat will happen next, which is the 2nd and 4th Thursday of the month. So our dates for September has already been locked, and we will show you what we'll be talking about as the date approaches. Okay, so I will see you in September. Ciao, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.